great opportunity to celebrate in this seminary dedicated to St. Paul, this year dedicated to him. And it is also good to see old students who have become older, just like us. The readings that we heard, especially the first reading, come from the feast of the conversion of St. Paul. But many exegetes are now questioning that terminology. They say, instead of talking about the conversion of St. Paul, maybe we should stress the call of St. Paul. In fact, I think the word conversion is something that our Jewish brothers and sisters find offensive. And so they say, well, St. Paul himself attests to the fact, in Galatians most especially, that he was called by God to be the apostle to the Gentiles. So he did not leave behind, as it were, a former faith in order to enter another faith. After all, the Christian dispensation is the fulfillment of the promises made to our forefathers. What I would like to share with you as an extended reflection or homily on St. Paul would be the if you want to put it this way, the makings of an apostle. What happens to someone called to be an apostle? And it's good to be led by St. Paul. And I have here three points that I got from the different letters of St. Paul. First point is the wonderful words of St. Paul in Galatians 19 to 20, where he says, I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but it is Christ who lives in me. The life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Christ living in me. It is Christ who lives in me. It is no longer I who live. It is the same human life, but this human life is now a life of faith. And because of faith, I can say, it is Christ who now lives in me. Life. There has been a shift in the understanding and experience of life in St. Paul. When we go to the letter to the Philippians, Galatians, we see that the life of St. Paul was anchored on two important things, which I guess any person would value. First, St. Paul considered his national or ethnic origin to be a source of pride in life. Even in the first reading that we heard, he declares that he was a Hebrew. He was a Hebrew. That was his national identity. And he took pride in it, and for it he lived. But he also lived for the law. By training, he was a Pharisee. And he took pride in that too. In the letter to the Philippians, he would even say that as far as the law or observance of the law is concerned, he is blameless. Wow. How many of us can say, as far as following the teachings of the church is concerned, I am blameless? Grabe ito si St. Paul. He can declare it. I am blameless as far as observance of the law is concerned. So we can see that the life of St. Paul was very simple. And these two are connected. His identity as a Hebrew and his attachment to the law. However, through a revelation by God of His Son, Jesus Christ, the meaning of life drastically shifted. Not that the law did not matter anymore, not that being a Hebrew was something to be dismissed. In fact, that was a struggle of St. Paul. No? In the letter to the Corinthians, he was very much, even to the Romans, he was trying to balance, no? The fact that, yes, in a way, Christ fulfills the law, but then he would say, what happens to Israel? They remain to be people of the promise. But St. Paul could not deny the fact that through a revelation of God, his life has changed its focus from national identity and observance of the law. Something greater has come. The very Son of God, Christ. And beyond acknowledging Christ, he recognized what Christ has done. He says, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. This Jesus has loved me and has given himself for me. So before Christ, who has given his life to me, what does my life mean? Christ has given his life to me, and so his life, which is a gift to me, becomes my life. He has given himself to me, so he becomes my life. It seems to be as simple as that. Now, with that first point, no, especially ito, no, San Pablo Seminary, I guess every seminarian here and every alumnus should be able to say, it is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Because he has loved me and given himself to me, he gave me his life. I accept that life to be my life. Ba't ka gumingiti? Serious to, ha? Really, it shakes us. Huh? It shakes us that somebody could reach this very simple but deep, profound, radical reinterpretation of life simply because he has been granted this revelation of someone, the Son of God, who has given his life for me. And because of that, he says, dying is a fact of life. I have been crucified with Christ. My old life has been crucified because now I live by the new life that has been given to me. And that new life is not something. It is someone, Jesus, who is my life. Now this is very apropos, no? And pertinent to all Christians and to all ministers of the church. So we need to ask ourselves periodically, even on a daily basis, who lives in me? What lives in me? O yung mga seminarista dito, mangitian lang kayo dyan ng kung sinong cute na mga ano na kayo. I don't want to lose. Bakit? Bakit? Siya na ang nabubuhay sa iyo. Nginitian ka lang naman eh. Di ba nga siya nag-aalay ng buhay sa iyo? Siya na ang nabubuhay sa iyo. Si Jesus ang nagbuwis ng buhay para sa atin. E di, yung buhay niya ang dapat nasa atin. Pera, rangya, ambisyon. Bakit yan ang mga nabubuhay sa atin? Hindi naman yan ang mga sumalba sa atin. Hindi naman yan ang mga nag-alay ng buhay para sa atin. Pero bakit sila ang hinahayaan natin mabuhay sa atin? Christ living in me. Now, that brings us to the second point that is very clear also in St. Paul. With the acceptance of the life